Hello, everyone. I'd like to welcome you all to the National Wireless Safety Alliance's webinar called New NWSA Certifications, an Overview of Antenna and Line Specialty and Tower Foreman. My name is Shelley Trigo, and I'm the Executive Administrator for National Wireless Safety Alliance. If you have any questions regarding the information presented during today's webinar, please feel free to contact NWSA. We'll have that contact information available at the end of today's presentation. We'll also have a question and answer session as time allows at the end of the presentation. You may submit your questions during the webinar via the question chat box. Finally, we'll be recording this webinar and we'll plan to post it on NWSA's website in our past webinars section for anyone wanting to watch a recording. At this time, it's my pleasure to introduce today's presenter, Jim Coleman. Jim serves as AT&T's National Tower Safety Manager. Jim also serves as Chairman of NWSA's Board of Governors. He's a member of NWSA's Telecommunications Tower Technician Written Exam Management Committee and served as NWSA's Tower Foreman Task Force Chairman, who created the two programs we'll be discussing today. At this point, I'm pleased to turn this over to Jim.
Thank you, Shelley. I appreciate it. And I must point out at this point that there were 30 other individuals, subject matter experts, who certainly were the ones responsible for the creation of the Antenna and Line Specialty and Foreman certification. So let's get underway. These are the two latest new certifications that NWSA is providing to the telecommunications industry. So let's start with Antenna and Line Specialty first. The topics we're going to go over today are the candidate handbook and the importance of it, the domains, the items in which questions are derived from. So we're going to discuss what the domains are. There's a test outline, the reference material, and of specific importance, I want to make sure that I point out more than one time the importance of the Foreman Leadership Guide, which is available, no fee, no charge, at the NWSA website. And it'll be really important for you to have that and use it as a study guide if you're wishing to be successful in passing the Foreman exam. So as a beginning part, I want to review the path by which employees who are entering into the telecommunications field have available to them now through NWSA certifications. The Triple T1 and Triple T2 have been around for almost 2 years now. This year, we're rolling out the Antenna and Line Specialty and the Foreman Specialty. And there'll be other specialties that occur. You see listed a few of the suggested future items, but that'll be growing as it moves forward. The NWSA launching the Telecommunications Tower Certification Program, that was an important milestone. It's a credential that stays with the individual, and if they move from one employer to another, it's transportable. That's a much different thing than we've had in the past. NWSA, as this is notification that we've presented out, where we are now offering Antenna and Line and Foreman as additions to the path. So let's discuss the two new ones, Antenna and Line and Foreman. The first one we're going to go over is Antenna and Line Specialty. A specialty, we need to first define that. A specialty is a scope-specific certification of knowledge and in a particular area. More than a technical certification for general industry knowledge, it is specialized for a specific scope of work and does not necessarily require managerial or supervisory skills to obtain a specialty certification. So the specific Antenna and Line Specialty, the one that the only specialty currently available. Let's begin the discussion with that one. Start with the definition of antenna and line specialty. An antenna and line specialty certification is for an individual who has met the fundamental knowledge and experience requirements for installation, repair, troubleshooting, and maintenance of antennas, transmission lines, and mounts on communication structures. So now that we know what the specialty is about, it'll be important to also understand the prerequisites that are required for you to obtain that certification. And the only prerequisite is that you have a T2 certification. So if you have a T2 certification, then you are eligible now to take the antenna and line specialty. It consists of a written exam, and unlike the T1 and T2, there's no practical field exam required. So what that means is that when you go to the CBT, computer-based testing facility that you did for the T1 or 2, that you might go back to that same location, and this time you're going to sign up for an antenna and line specialty. And when you do that, if you successfully pass that test, then you'll have the antenna and line specialty. No requirement for another piece, another part of testing to take place. So candidates can apply online. All they need to do is go to the NWSA website, do it exactly the same way that you may have done it the last time. There are 400 plus PSI testing facilities all over the country. And the fee for the antenna and line specialty is $274. There are no other charges. When you'll be assessed that, and that covers all of the expense. Looks a little different, again, than it did with the practical exam being required by T1 and 2. And that certification will be good for 5 years, just as the T1 and 2 were. So to register, pretty simple. You'll go to www.nws-a.org, click on the Get Certified button, and select Antenna and Line Specialty. It'll take you to the location where you can make sure that you fully understand everything there is to know about what you're going to be going into for Antenna and Line Specialty. The first thing you're going to want to do when you go there is you're going to want to download the candidate handbook. It will look different, of course, than the one you may have downloaded for T1 or T2, because now the new candidate handbook has included Antenna and Line Specialty and Foreman. No charge. Just go to the website, download it. It's free to you. Please do that. So let's discuss the items, the particular domains, and the percentage of questions that are going to be asked on each one of those domains. So it's a written exam. It's an exam of knowledge domains, and those knowledge domains, there are 5 domains. The first is appurtenances, and it's made up of 28% of the exam. The second is the antenna systems specific, and 29% of the exam is made up of questions from that domain. Grounding is 9%. Transmission line and connectors is 12%, and hazards is 22%. Now, under each one of these large domains, there are subdomains, and so when you go to the website, when you examine that, it's going to list all these domains, and then the subdomains are the specific areas that you need to make sure that you're aware of in preparation for the exam. It'll be helpful if you use the reference material and you're familiar with the reference material for antenna and line specialty specifically. All the questions will come from these references. OSHA's 29 CFR 1910 and 1926, so that's for maintenance and construction. CommScope's ebook, Understanding the RF Path. That's a free document. Just go online. The ANSI A10.48. The 2016 version is the most current one right now. The FAA AC70 7460-1L. That will be on lighting in specific. The FCC OET Bulletin 65. And CommScope's Installation Bulletin 1780 OB-JC. Those are all the references. So those are documents you may already have. If you were doing antenna and line specialty work, you may already be familiar with all of those. I would encourage you to look through them again. Make sure you're not making assumptions. Make sure you're reading exactly what's included in the documentation. Don't guess, okay? All right, so that kind of gives you a basic overview of everything that's going to be required for you to successfully take the antenna and line specialty. Now, before we get into Foreman, I'd like to go over just a little bit of when you will become eligible for antenna and line specialty. You have to have a triple T2 certification. So if you go to the CBT to take the written examinations and you decide that you are a triple T1 and you're going through for a triple T2, if you feel comfortable, you can also take the antenna and line specialty at the very same time. So you can sign up for both of them and then take them concurrently. And if you didn't have a triple T2 certification, you successfully passed both written exams. As soon as you completed the practical portion of the triple T2 exam, then your card would be issued to you with a triple T2 certification, as well as the antenna and line specialty would be shown on your card because you'd already passed both written tests. So that's a time-saving move for those who feel like they would like to accomplish that all at one time. And remember that to acquire the antenna and line specialty, one of the requirements is that you be a triple T2. So if you're triple T2 already, then you are then eligible for an antenna and line specialty. Okay, let's move to Foreman. So Foreman is obviously the next certification in our career progression, as shown in this diagram. The definition of a foreman. A foreman is a supervisor of a crew performing construction, installation, demolition, and/or maintenance on communication sites in accordance with construction drawings and/or written scopes of work. It's the foreman's responsibility to ensure that the work is performed in compliance with acceptable industry standards and best practices. We're at the prerequisite part again here, and I want to go over this a couple of times. So it requires that you be a triple T2, and in addition to it, it requires that you have at least one specialty certification. At this time, that would be an antenna and line certification. As other certifications of specialty are created, it might be a different one. But to be a foreman, to sit for the foreman exam, you must have at least one specialty. You could have more than one specialty. You could, as a triple T2, take the antenna and line specialty, and when additional specialties become available, you could take those specialties, and then you would qualify, having successfully passed at least one specialty. Then you would be able to sit for the foreman exam. Hopefully that explanation is adequate and helpful. It's a written exam. There's no practical exam. And I'm going to take the opportunity right now to point out that the information that is required for study, it's going to be really important that you look through all of that documentation to successfully pass the test. It's a CBT test. By this time, you're getting very familiar with how those tests work. You can apply online. It's available at the PSI testing facilities, and the fee for the exam is $274. Once you set and are successful for passing the Foreman exam, that exam certifies you for a period of 5 years, and then you'll sit for the exam again to recertify. Nothing new here. We're going to go to the NWSA-A.org website, look up the information. Hopefully everyone, by the time we get to taking the Foreman exam, we're really familiar with the website. And we use it as reference, in doing our everyday jobs as well. All of the information there is available and for your use. So once we go to the website and we download the candidate handbook, if you haven't done that yet, please do. And that will provide you the opportunity to look specifically at all of the guidance for, in this case, Foreman. The domains. Environmental health and safety, all of these kind of begin to look new. They're much different than the ones in the previous exams you've looked at. 17% environmental health and safety. Rigging, 22%. Quality and productivity, 16%. And then the largest piece, the most of the questions on this exam are going to be on leadership. And so the question gets answered in the next slide. Where do I get the information on leadership? So the ANSI 1048 is a document by now you're familiar with. 1910 and 1926 OSHA's documents, you're familiar with that one. And we have a brand new one here, NWSA Leadership Guide, which is available on the website. No expense to you. You're going to want to download that one. It's a very large portion of the Foreman test. And if you download and fully have read and digested and understand the leadership guideline, then you're going to be successful at passing the test. OSHA Compliance Directive, CPL 0201056 in 2014. That's riding the line, guys. So if you're not familiar with that one, you're going to want to familiarize yourself with that one. The FCC OET 65 bulletin, and a new one, at least for past the antenna and line specialty, the ANSI ASME B30. It's going to be on rigging materials, slings, shackles, and the like. And the Hubble A.B. Chance Owner's Manual, that's going to be about the capstan hoist. All right. Those are if we know the information in those, we're going to be successful at obtaining our Foreman credential. All right, so there's a couple of other items in which you're going to have questions asked. The Federal Motor Carrier Safety and the U.S. Wildlife Services Communications Towers, and U.S. DOL Heat Index Guide for Employees as well. So those are new ones, I think. I don't believe they've been required on Triple T1, Triple T2, or Antenna and Line, and you'll want to familiarize yourself with those as well. This is what it looks like. The Foreman Leadership Guidelines, free on NWSA's website. Please download it, read it a couple of times, familiarize yourself fully. I think that if you are anticipating you're going to be a foreman or already acting as a foreman, you'll find it a really useful guideline and material that you will you'll probably wind up wanting to read it more often, even after you successfully pass the test, just to help you. I hope so. The NWSA Leadership Guide, I think you should feel now that I think it's a really important thing if you want to pass the Foreman exam. So I'm going to take just a moment to go through the table of contents of the Leadership Guide. Leading others, builds trust, extended influence, leads by example, communicates, creates a positive environment, prepares self, develops others, representative of the profession, gets positive results. Those are all really important topics and may be items in which additional reading of the guide will help you be successful in passing the Foreman exam. Having said all of that, without any further ado, hopefully you've had the opportunity. I know it's a lot to digest, but if you have any inquiries, please go to NWSA's website, and we'll check now and see if we have any questions.
Thanks,
Shelley?
Jim. Yeah, thank you. One of the questions that I received asks, can I sit for the antenna and line exam when I take the TTT2 written exam?
That's an excellent question. Yes, you could actually sit for the T2 written exam and the antenna and line exam and the Foreman exam. You could take all three of them all at one sitting if you so desire. All you'd have to do is register for each one of the ones you want to sit for. If you were sitting for the T2, please remember now that you would have to successfully pass the T2 exam and the practical exam before you would be qualified to receive the antenna and line specialty or the Foreman specialty, even if you passed both of the written exams at that time.
Okay, very good.
Any other
Thank
questions?
you. I have one more. Are there any other specialty exams available at this time?
Antenna and line specialty is the only one that's currently available. It's the first one that we're rolling out. We will be creating additional specialty exams. That work is close to beginning again right now, as a matter of fact. And so by this time next year, there will be more than one for you to take as a specialty in preparation for meeting the requirements for Foreman certification. That's a good question.
Okay, that was all the questions that I have today, Jim. I'd just like to thank everyone for attending today's webinar, and I wanted to remind you that we'll be posting a recording of this webinar on NWSA's website at nws-a.org. This will be available in the next few days. Again, thank you so much for attending, and have a great day.